Fortnite Chapter 7 is officially here, you guys, and within the first day, it's already looking like Fortnite may have actually just won back their entire audience. I didn't really think it could get much better after the Simpsons season, but I think Fortnite may have just pulled off the impossible. Alright guys, we're about 24 hours since the biggest event in Fortnite history being 0 Hour, and I don't say this lightly, but Fortnite might genuinely be back. Like, good gameplay and good story all at the same exact time within this brand new chapter. When does that ever happen anymore? The past 24 hours have been absolutely insane. The community is literally saying this feels like Fortnite 2, and honestly, I kind of agree with them. The wild part is I haven't found myself frustrated once in this brand new season. I've played many games so far, and I haven't found myself being frustrated with the map, the mechanics, the loot pool. This might be the smoothest chapter launch Epic has pulled off in literal years, and I can't believe that I'm actually saying that. But today, I want to go through every piece of this season, not just the new stuff, but why it actually works, why Chapter 7 already feels like Fortnite is getting its identity back, and how they combined all of the best aspects of many different chapters into one of the best that we've seen so far. And trust me, later in this video, I'm going to talk about the storyline, because Epic has literally teased that this is a new phase of Fortnite's story, and the stuff coming up in my story videos, you guys, bro, this lore goes way deeper than anyone expected. Alright, you guys, let's start off with the map, because all I can say is, wow, you guys, this is one of the most instantly recognizable, easy to understand maps that I think they have ever made. Every POI just makes sense visually and really flows throughout the map. It doesn't feel like there's any like eyesores or anything that feels out of place right now, and normally that is the case for the beginning of chapters, and then usually throughout the seasons, it does get a little bit more random, but right now they absolutely nailed it. Now, I really did love the Chapter 6 map, especially the Chapter 6 Season 1 map. Like, genuinely, I thought that map was super duper underrated, especially in the first season because of how beautiful it was. But Chapter 7 might already be overtaking it for me, and it's literally only day 1. If you guys have spent any time on this map, you know how beautiful it looks. Definitely during sunset and things like that, it just looks great. The theming is absolutely insane. You know, I was kind of on the fence about how I felt about, you know, the Hollywood West Coast sort of theme, and depending on how they did it, it could have been make or break in my opinion, but everything looks like something straight out of a movie or a TV show. These POIs feel like places that you've seen before, but also totally new, if that makes any sense. I feel like I could have easily seen these POIs in a different video game or a different movie or a TV show at some point in time, and I think that's just absolutely awesome. The palm trees are absolutely everywhere, which I'm really glad that they put those all throughout the map. The West Coast vibe, of course, continues throughout the entire map as well. And dude, I absolutely adore this. It actually feels like I'm playing a version of like GTA San Andreas or an early version of GTA 6 or something like that. This is the first time in so long where you can land somewhere and feel the theme immediately, especially during Chapter 6 Season 1. You could feel the kind of like Japanese architecture and things like that, but they kind of lost that throughout the chapter, so I really hope they don't do that with Chapter 7. Of course, we got the Battlewood sign, and some of my favorites right now are Sandy Strip and Latte Landing. They feel handcrafted. There's really no like filler POI in my opinion, and that was one of the things that I had on Chapter 6 is even though I really did like it, there were a lot of named POIs that really didn't need to be named. Like some of them were super duper small, and they just kind of felt like, you know, we're throwing this in just because we really don't know where else to put it. You can tell Epic really cooked this map with absolutely purpose. Now, the first time in a long time, you guys, the first thing I did when Chapter 7 came out, instead of just going straight into a match, I actually went into a custom match and just landed around the map just to see it. Not because I'm looking for like loot or rotations, but it's just genuinely so fun to explore. And top that on top of, you know, all of the lore and story implications and little Easter eggs that there are, there's just so much to this map right now. There's something about the actual feel of the game this season. The new UI, the modernized sound design, and the hit indicators as well. It all feels upgraded. And I will say at first, you guys, I did not like the hit indicators, the new like sound that they made in the death sound, but I actually really like it now. After a few games, I got used to it, and it feels very fresh. I believe this is the first time they've changed it since like Chapter 2. So it was really nice to see that. Like I said, it feels like a Fortnite 2, in my opinion. Every single chapter, I kind of expect UI, quality of life changes, even just stuff that really doesn't make sense to change. I kind of expect that because that's what comes with a new chapter. It's supposed to feel like a new version of the game. And even little things like the emote wheel rework make the whole game feel fresh again as well. These aren't necessarily big, flashy features, but they matter a lot more than people think. Like I said, the quality of life changes that just makes the game so much easier to play. I know there are some bugs right now, and a lot of people have been reporting them, like the ready up button and things not working when you actually die and you're spectating somebody, but Fortnite legitimately feels more polished right now than it has in quite a while. It feels like they kind of rebuilt the game with intention instead of just slapping a bunch of different systems together. Nothing feels really completely broken right now, nothing feels rushed, and that alone is really rare for a chapter launch. This is one of the smoothest launch days Fortnite has ever had on day one. It's absolutely crazy, and people are starting to notice, which we will talk about later. Now, this might be the absolutely craziest, most surprising part of this brand new chapter launch, and that is the loot pool might be the most balanced it's been in I don't even know how long. This is back-to-back seasons now where nothing feels insanely overpowered or game-breaking. Now, you could say that the Mr. Blasty pistol back in the Simpsons season may have been a little bit overpowered, but they did nerf it a little bit. I didn't feel like it was broken. Like, I feel like you could easily fight against it most of the time, but that is a miracle for Fortnite, especially in this season. I don't know about you guys, but I haven't found anything that feels insanely overpowered or went up against something where I was like, there's no way I could do anything about this. Even the stuff that feels strong, like the AR and the SMG, especially the ones with scopes, feels strong in a fair way. I don't feel like I'm dying to just nonsense or anything like that right now. If anything, you guys, the wingsuit, which everyone thought was going to be crazy, it is actually one of the most fun things they've added in quite a long time. I feel like that actually needs a buff. That's how balanced this season is right now. I feel like the wingsuit is a little bit too slow sometimes, but I can't remember the last time I played a new chapter and didn't immediately run into something that made me want to uninstall immediately. That's how good this launch is, or made me want to get off the game or something like that. I feel like they actually may have cracked the code for how to balance a loot pool in the beginning of the season, and they have stuff in there that just makes it a lot more fun to use. Things like shockwaves have still been in the game. I'm really glad they haven't removed those in particular. Now, this is a common theme when we've been talking about new seasons that come out in Fortnite, and guys, I've been saying this since I started making YouTube videos. When Fortnite actually commits to a theme 110%, it is so good. Now, Fortnite is actually committing to the Chapter 7 theme instead of throwing, 80 different aesthetics together, and they've been doing that, and I want to give them their flowers. The movie set vibe, the cameras everywhere, the props, the big Hollywood-style POIs. This is the kind of world building that Fortnite has really been missing, or, I guess they haven't been missing, but they got away from before Chapter 6. It all really ties together, the palm trees, the signage, the environmental storytelling. It feels like a real place that we're actually going to see advance through, however many seasons are here. Like I said, it really gives me vibes of Chapter 3, and Chapter 3 is probably the last chapter where I felt like the world was like a place that was building, like something was going to happen, like the POIs were there was something building there, if you know what I mean, and I really feel that with Chapter 7. You can tell Epic really wanted a specific tone for this chapter, and they stuck to it. The Golden Coast is very prevalent, and Fortnite always shines the most when it leads hard into a theme. This might be one of the most consistent visual identity Fortnite has had since maybe, I don't know, like Chapter 3, because every single POI is noticeable, it makes sense, and it matches the rest of the aesthetics. Now, this chapter also brings a lot of really big mechanical changes that people have been a little bit mixed about, and I will admit, you guys, the surfing intro instead of the battle bus took some getting used to, but now that I've played it quite a lot, I actually think it's genius. Player placement feels so much more even throughout the map, especially considering that not everybody is on the same wave, which I actually didn't consider when we first heard about this before the chapter came out. You always end up near somebody no matter what phase of the game you're in most of the time. It's so cool that Fortnite is still experimenting with new ways to start matches. After 7 years, the fact that they're even trying something like this, I think is absolutely wild. It's a huge risk for them to remove one of the core mechanics of the game, like the battle bus. One of the things that identifies Fortnite immediately, like, oh, that's the battle bus, that's Fortnite, in a brand new chapter 7 years after release. And then we also have the anomalies around the island that change movement and gameplay. It's like Fortnite wants every match to feel slightly different. The only one that I've actually experienced so far is the one where when you stand still, you get the invisibility or the stealth, and when you kill people or mark them, it'll mark them for everybody in the area. That's the only one that I've gotten, but I know Taco Time is going to be coming back. Even though that stuff is annoying, they're still experimenting and trying to make the game a little bit more fresh and have a more variety overall. Now, here's where things start to get absolutely crazy, you guys, but I'm not going to go too deep into the story because tomorrow, or maybe even later today, I'll have a giant video on the new Chapter 7 story because it is insane. But Fortnite straight up teased that this is a new phase of the storyline. They're not hiding it. The Traveler floating above the island, literally the Dark Voyager destroying the battle bus. Guys, the Dark Voyager is a character from Chapter 1, Season 3 that has not been heard of since that season, or I guess since Season X. The modes going on offline because of the story, they're actually committing again to a story. And guys, this is something crazy too. We were talking about Chapter 7 being storyline focused, and this is the most it's been in years, and that alone is huge for the future. I'm so excited to see what they do. But I really knew that Fortnite was really committing to this and making it the forefront once again when the literal trailer for a brand new chapter gives us a recap and where they threw all of this information at us so that everyone knew exactly what the storyline was, like exactly what was going on in the storyline, what the past looks like, what the 0 point is, and that's exactly what they did. I thought that was really important because that goes to show like, hey guys, you need to know this because the 0 point and the storyline is kicking into overdrive. And I'm telling you now, you guys, this storyline goes way deeper than anyone realizes, and you guys are going to want to watch my upcoming story videos because I'm about to dive into stuff that nobody is talking about yet. Epic is cooking with this story. They're actually building something long term again. And here's the craziest part about this. I'm not the only one who's enjoying this. People are loving this season right now. Like, it's not just us. Everyone is feeling it. Battle Royale currently has 1.7 million live players right now across the build mode and zero build, with Fortnite itself having 2.7 million on Fortnite right now. And get this, 1 million of that is creative and over 5,000 players is other modes inside of there as well. This is happening on day one. And this may not sound like a lot. You may be, oh, well, that's expected for a brand new chapter launch when it's this big, but think about this. 4 major modes inside of Fortnite are literally disabled right now. Blitz, Reload, OG, and Ranked aren't even playable until later this week, about 3 or 4 days from now. With OG not being until, you know, over 11 days from now. People are still flooding into Chapter 7. That alone tells you everything you need to know. People are loving this chapter, and the hype is absolutely real. Everything about this season just feels intentional. The gameplay, the map, the animations, etc. For the first time in years, I think Fortnite feels confident. It knows what it wants to be again, and it knows the direction that it needs to go. And personally, I think that Fortnite really has realized how important a story is. The story is what's going to get people connected to the game. It's the thing that's going to make people want to stay around. It's something that made me fall in love with Fortnite all the way back in Chapter 1. The community is happier than I've seen them since OG. That's not a coincidence. That's good game design. They've actually have perfected a season launch. And if Epic keeps this momentum with the 6 updates we already know are coming in this season, Chapter 7 might go down as one of the best beginnings to a chapter ever. Fortnite didn't just make a good season, you guys. They may have just won back their entire audience. But overall, you guys, if this is just day 1, imagine where we'll be in 2 weeks or a month from now, or even at the end of Chapter 7. And as you guys know, I will be here making videos every single day of Chapter 7. If you guys did enjoy today's video, please do drop a like. You watched all the way to the end. You must have enjoyed, so drop a like. Subscribe to the channel. I make videos like these every single day. Use code PROZEROYT, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace.